Great. We are live. Hello, everybody. I'm going to change my layout here. There we go. And we're just going to wait another minute or so. But just want to say hello. Looks like we have a few people coming in. Welcome, everybody. So up in the corner, I'll do a little housekeeping. You'll see the chat. So this is webinar style, so we can't see or hear you, but you can enter your questions and let us know. And I'm going to keep a monitor, keep an eye on those and make sure we get those. So I will test it out, make sure you all can see it. There we go. Okay, we're right at 1. So we'll get started and others may join us as we go. My name is Sandra Harris. I'm Executive Director of American Women Artists. I'd like to welcome you to another in our new webinar series for 2024. Today, I'm very excited to introduce Elaine Lockard with Ship and Insure. She's VP of Sales and Marketing. I think I got that right. Yes. And she has had a great history with the organization, growing it into an organization that insures fine art, which is what we're interested in. But then they also have been so generous with us with the AWA offering free membership for a year for our members. And it's just such a great benefit. So we're going to walk through that benefit, walk through what Ship Insure is. Elaine is also an artist. She paints in oils. So she has the personal connection and understanding for how important it is when we're shipping art. That we want it to be safe. So welcome, Elaine.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate the opportunity to talk to all of you today, and that it has been going to be recorded. So any not able to join us can look back on this. We just love the art community and the ability to serve them. Being an artist myself and shipping artwork along with other collectibles, I realize how important it is to have insurance that covers shipments through FedEx, UPS, and the post office, as well as freight for full coverage. That means loss or damage. And it's just an important thing when you're shipping valuables. We consider valuables, real valuables, $500 and up, but we certainly cover things under $500. But we have been in the business to cover collectibles, and that would include coins, antiques, art, jewelry, watches, and on, some of them in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. I always like to make a point of when there's an Oscars or a award show, some of our jewelry customers send $500,000-$600,000 jewelry packets to stylists of the actors in those cases, and they wear them, of course, show them off a little, and then send them back. So we cover them to the event and back to specifically the stylist. So we are very familiar with high value items, how they need to be packaged. Certainly nothing on the label indicating that it is valuable, because we don't want the shipping company to know what's in that package. It should just look like a regular package to them, because they don't have any interest in it except the $100 that they would usually cover every package for. So I'd like to start by a video we put together to introduce our company to new people that are interested in shipping and having their insurance placed through us. So Sandra, if you would show that video, then I'll go from there.
Great, here we go.
That's great. Thank you for showing that. Our program began back in 2002. I joined the company in 2005. We started with 5 customers because our program was an inspiration by an owner of a coin business. He was also in insurance and other related businesses and discovered that there really wasn't a good way to ship coins and bullion. So when I came on board, there were, like I said, 5 customers, and I've grown the business for the owner since then as really the managing director of this company. I handle a majority of the sales. I attend conferences and trade shows, and we work with associations to cover their members as a benefit program. When you get into musical instruments such as guitars, a lot of them are very intricate. They're custom made for a band member or an orchestra in some respects. And those items, certainly when they're shipped, being one of a kind, could be valuable in excess of $10,000. So when I would go to a show such as Guitar Makers, or luthiers, it's very interesting to hear the horror stories that they've encountered shipping items like that with broken necks and just really damaged guitars. I'm bringing things like that up because if you're a member of our program, you don't just have to ship art. We cover anything of value. Even, you have birthday gifts or something for the grandchildren. I mean, if they're worth a couple $100, you might want to cover them because there's a possibility the items could be on a list, especially of FedEx, of what they won't cover. And some people don't find that out until they have a loss and realize that FedEx would never cover the item they're shipping because they sell what's called declared value, not insurance. And there's a big difference between that. So I want to open it up for questions after I do the next video, which would show you how to join our program. I'm going to have Sandra show that because I want everyone to know that we're giving a special offer to the AWA and including the first year membership of our program at no charge. Subsequent years would be charged $135, which, if you think about it, it is still a complete bargain because of our FedEx discount program, which you also are entitled to at no additional charge. And that would entitle you to be covered at a discount for a shipment sent FedEx at 50% off for second day, overnight, and international, 25% off ground, and 80% off FedEx freight. So if you have large canvases and must go freight, that's a wonderful opportunity to save an awful lot of money on a shipment, as well as have it covered with us. So, Sandra, if you'd show how easy it is to join, and then I'll answer some questions.
Absolutely.
As you can see, that's very easy to join.
Mhm.
Majority of our members are paying $135 a year, but the first year is complimentary for AWA members. And I'd like to open it up for questions. I think some of the best seminars and webinars I've ever done have been through the questions that are asked, because these are real people with real issues that shipped something, had it damaged, found out there was no coverage or whatever. And I would be really willing to answer any of that. Use the chat prompt there, and Sandra will give me the question and I'll answer it as best I can.
I'm going to kick it off until we get a few more. So the sign up, when you go on, it showed that drop down menu. So AWA is one of the organizations on that list.
Yes.
So when you go to that website, shipandinsure.com, and you go to the drop down menu for the organizations, you pick AWA, fill it out, you get an email back that then gives you your password to be able to log in. And then you can sign up for FedEx Advantage separately, but on the same site, correct?
Yes, but we always send an email
Right.
along with the confirmation email that you're now currently a member of our program. We'll send that FedEx form, which is a little couple lines where you just give your FedEx number to the form and your address and submit that directly to FedEx corporate office.
Mhm.
Then they will code your account at the corporate office to automatically receive that discount anytime you use your account number. Your account number is discounted automatically whether you insure with us or not.
So
So
that's
if you don't
anytime
have a
you,
FedEx account, you
yeah,
can call 1-800-GO-FedEx, or you can go to FedEx.com and sign up for an account. It does not cost anything. It just helps them with how to invoice you or bill you for the shipping costs.
that's great. So you'll get your own FedEx account number first. And then when you sign up for Ship and Insure and get that email back, then you can sign up for FedEx Advantage, which is the discount program.
Yes,
And again, I think a lot of folks don't understand it's anytime you use FedEx. So
yes,
whatever you're sending,
yes.
and whether or not you purchase the additional insurance, which is what you'll want to do when you're insuring your art. So it's sort of that two-pronged approach. The next question I'll ask, we've got a quiet group today. Bring on the questions. So I think there's a chart on the website also that shows you how the insurance is figured. And can you explain a little bit about that, about how the charge gets calculated?
Yes, our charges are per 100. For instance, a FedEx ground package is 23 cents per 100. FedEx Priority Overnight is 18 cents per 100. USPS Priority Mail, which has a limit of $10,000,
Mhm.
that is 28 cents per 100. There is a calculator on the site that you can open right under the rate page. So you could actually put in what the value is of your shipment, and it will calculate it for you based on the method of shipment. So that calculator will help you figure that out before you ever insure it with us.
Mhm.
But the rate page also will give you limits such as USPS, um, let's see, registered mail or Priority Express has a limit of $75,000. You can go over that amount if you use FedEx Priority overnight. We can go over 75,000 and you just request an override. Suppose you have a painting that's worth 90,000, or maybe it's a painting that's antique or something very old that is a historic painting. We have a customer that deals with Salvador Dali in California, and all his things are very valuable. You can imagine a lot of the originals, they're all in excess of $75,000. So when he ships something, he always requests an override. You don't need to call us. You just request that right online, right on the site. We approve it, put it in your cart, you check out, takes like 20 seconds. It's works pretty nice.
So a couple questions back to sort of the FedEx account. So somebody already has a FedEx account. That's great. When they get
Yes,
the email from you, they just use that existing account number to sign up for FedEx Advantage.
that's correct.
So they'll just attach that Advantage program to their existing membership.
Yes.
Somebody said that they signed up, but now they can't find that email to get the FedEx form again. Can they re-request that with customer
Yes.
service?
Just send us an email to info@shipandinsure.com, and is spelled out, and we'll send you the form again. Very easy.
Okay, I'm going to put that in the chat really quick. info@shipandinsure.com.
Yes.
So that if you've signed up, you will get that email to attach your FedEx number. And in fact, you need a FedEx account number to sign up for that FedEx Advantage. But you do have to go through this email that you get through them to get those incredible discounts. Next question we have, what packaging requirements do you all have for full insurance? And then what kind of documentation would be needed if someone had to make a claim?
Good question. We like Master Pack. We have actually a link on our site for Master Pack. We have never had a damage claim with someone using Master Pack. So I'm giving that as a recommendation. However, that's not imperative you use that. If you go to a pack and ship store or a FedEx office, they will pack your painting that it can be dropped at 4 feet without damage. That's the general rule on packing. You certainly want to have it padded and the corners protected. Most of the claims that we have that come with damage to a painting is because it was mishandled by the shipper, the shipping company. And that's what we pay the claim on. So the best rule of thumb to pack your painting is to consider, if I drop this at 4 feet, will it survive? And that's the way it should be packed. Obviously, you want to use good materials against the painting or print or whatever medium you had, and then bubble wrapping away from the painting, because we had an incident one time with, due to heat, some of the bubble wrap melted up against the painting, and that wasn't very good. We did pay to have that repaired, but we just would like to have it. There's a light foam that you can use around the painting, or some good paper, craft paper, and then use bubble wrap. But you want to make sure that the painting is secured. And I think most people understand dropping at 4 feet. That's the general rule. So it's good to take a picture using your camera phone when you're wrapping your painting and preparing it for shipping. So we see that it was intact and in good shape before you packed it. Then when we get at the end where it goes and is damaged, we can see what happened and that it was packaged properly in the beginning. That makes the claim process go through really carefully.
So it is a possibility that a claim would get denied if you saw that it wasn't packaged well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But you don't have those requirements sort of spelled out, that it must be in this type of box, it must be in that type. Okay.
We don't have it spelled out, but we do have shipping and packing suggestions and regulations in what's on the website. But also when you get your policy in the mail, which you would get a hard copy of a policy once you join our program, just like a typical insurance policy, that has many pages of proper packing in there. And
So
if
we
anyone
have
has
to
a
reference
question,
that.
oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what was that? I'm
So we
sorry.
have to reference that, and then you're ensuring that you're meeting those insurance requirements for
Yes,
Okay. I
yes,
hope that
yes.
answers that question.
Yes, but the other question was, how do you, with the valuation?
Well, no, it was the documentation for the
Oh,
claim.
documentation. Okay. If you consider a painting to be worth, let's say, $5,000, and you're selling it for that, or that would be what it would take to replace that, you would have some documentation. You would have paintings that you sell generally are between maybe $5,000 and $8,000, and you had a price on this one at 5.
Mhm.
We could see that if you turn a claim in and or insure it for $30,000 and everything that the artist ever did was between 5 and 8,000, I mean, we'd question that. But we don't question when someone says the painting is $5,000 and it's lost or it's damaged and now I have to have it repaired. I send it to a conservator, or in some cases, some artists repair their own work,
Mhm.
and we would pay for that.
Okay. Hope that answered that one. The next
Okay,
one's great. It's somebody who has used Ship and Insure twice, so that's great in the first.
good.
And the question being brought up is a very common one related to return shipping because, particularly with our shows, the artists will ship it to the venue, but then it might get returned to them or it might go instead to the buyer. And so the question is, and we want them up front to have that label handled so the museums aren't having to try to scramble when they're trying to ship the show back out. So I think the first question is they have a tracking number for the return, but they don't know the date, that the exact date it'll be shipped back. And secondarily, if it sells, it'll need to go to that buyer. How do you make sure the insurance is covered under both of those situations, either coming back to you on a date that might not yet be determined, and then if it's going on someplace else?
Okay, we recommend when you're shipping to a show that you, of course, have the label shipping to the show, and
Mhm.
that would include the zip to, zip from, the value, the date it ships, and the method of shipment. The second label, which you're sending to the show through the shipment that you're sending of the painting or other artwork for that show, includes the return label. We want you to go online on our site and also insure it on the return. Now, you won't know the exact date, but you would use the date the soonest after that show that that painting or other piece of art would ship. So
Right.
you would
Okay.
use that, yeah, you'd use the date, the most soon after that show it would go out. You'd use that date. Of course, the zip to would be the show zip, and the zip to would be your home. That's in the case of it coming back to you. So it is in the system and it is covered. However, suppose someone buys that and it should go to the buyer. Then we would just want an email in either case. It actually shipped on April 26th when it was insured for April 20th or something like that. You know the date it did go out, and the address that we had on the return is now the address to the buyer, and you just give us the correct address. So
Okay.
we would change it in the master log, Sandra, and then
Mhm.
we would email that customer back saying, we have changed the address and the date in the master log, and your shipment remains covered. So you would have that from us.
So that's great. There's sort of two pieces to that pie because you also, if it's not coming back to you, have to update that address with FedEx. And so that's separate. That's not what you all are doing.
No.
You're updating the coverage and the date of the coverage and the coverage destination. But
Yes.
the changing of a shipping address, if it has to get switched to the buyer, the artist needs to do that through FedEx. And so when you have your FedEx Advantage account, you can log in and change that address for its destination.
Yes.
So that's kind of a two-part. I hope that helps. But bottom line, you're going to estimate, and we usually, in a show example, the museum will say the show ends on the 12th. We anticipate shipping between the 15th and the 18th, or whatever the date is, and they can choose the earliest one for you all, and then determine that for FedEx as well for that return. So it's a little tricky. It's a two-part.
Yeah. I think the key to this, Sandra, is that it's in our system as covered.
Right.
Maybe the tracking number changes, maybe the address changes, maybe the date changes, but it's in our system as covered. And the artist would be responsible just to let us know what changes are to be made on that shipment so we can record it on our master log. That's all we would want the person to do to follow up with us.
Okay, we have the next question is to just get a little more clarity. So when you need to ship UPS or FedEx, so I think the clarity is you're choosing your shipping carrier, which is one thing, which isn't you all. And so if you're going to ship UPS, you follow your usual steps. If you're going to ship FedEx, you have the added bonus of getting a discount through you all. So that FedEx Advantage, if you choose to use FedEx, you're getting a lower price, but you're choosing whichever carrier. And then the insurance comes into play separately, but you have to know your shipping information, your carrier, and your destination, because you'll insure, like you said, UPS, FedEx, USPS. So you can choose whichever of those carriers you're using and set up your usual method of shipping. We hope it'll be FedEx because you get a giant discount through this program. But then you get your insurance the same way, no matter what company you're using. Am I saying that properly?
That's absolutely correct. And the other thing I will mention is we do cover DHL for international.
Great.
And we also cover self-transport.
Right.
If the show is not too far and you're going to drive it there, most people don't realize that their car insurance would not cover what's in your vehicle. No.
Right.
Now, we don't cover unattended vehicle. So if you would have several paintings in your car and you stop and go in a restaurant, someone breaks in and takes them, we wouldn't cover it. But if you have an accident or an issue, your car breaks down or something, those paintings are covered in your vehicle as long as you're there with it. And that's important because we've had some damage claims due to somebody rear-ending someone, with a car. And because they purchased the insurance, they were self-transporting those paintings. They were very fortunate to get the light damage they had completely covered.
And do you specify any requirements for packing something you're self-transporting?
It wouldn't be dropping at 4 feet. No, it would just have to be
so
secure
I just
that the
blanket wrapped around my sculpture. I'm good. Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. A lot of people don't think about that. Yes, you're saving on shipping by driving the piece to the venue, but things can happen and your car insurance will not help you with that. Unless you have a rider of some sort, but just a regular old policy isn't going to cover that. Unless it's a business policy and it's an art policy, all of that.
Sure.
So somebody asked, she enters national shows that specify packing only in airfloat strong boxes.
Okay.
And I'm assuming that's acceptable.
That's acceptable. They're similar to the Master Pack. And like I said, we have not had any damage to Airfloat or Master Pack packages, and they've taken a beating sometimes. I'm amazed at how they hold up.
Yeah, AWA recommends that, and we've had a great sponsorship relationship with Airfloat. On top of it, they've done a great job of giving awards, and museums recommend that too. And they are pricey and people will balk at that. But if you're preventing the damage and you can reuse it,
Yes.
I think it's a great investment. So hopefully that cleared that question up.
Good.
So one more person asked, how do you set it up for self-transport? And if you just want to go over that one more time, how you log in and make that happen.
Self-transport would be transportation by your car or other type of vehicle. You would want to secure the paintings or the sculpture or whatever art you're taking in your vehicle, that it wouldn't jostle around, when you're like slamming on the brake or something, somebody pulling out on you. It would want to be secured, but it doesn't have to be like when you're shipping, where we recommend it needs to be uh, no damage occurring dropped at 4 feet, which is a general rule, if you can think about that. So self-transport, I mean, most people just, lay it in the back, put some blankets or towels down between different ones and have them secured.
And
So that would be fine.
And self-transport is just a choice of shipping method when you're signing up for the insurance.
Okay. Yes.
So
yeah. When you get Yes, when you get to the opening page, you always navigate our site when you join our program at the members home page, not the regular home page, which anybody can see, members home, once you log in. And the choices are domestic shipment, international shipment, self-transport. I think armored car is on there also. And when you select self-transport, it's just going to it's not going to ask you for a tracking number. Most customers put in their license plate number or the license plate of the vehicle they're using to transport. And you would be able to tell zip to and zip from, because you'll know the zip code you're leaving from and where you're going to and the value, and it would cover that.
That's great. Does the rate change by the distance you're driving?
No, it doesn't. It actually, it's the same rate if you go two hours or you go 20 hours. It's just, it's the same rate. Yes.
Well, we just had a nice little endorsement for Airfloat. An artist had one come back with a very crunch corner, but the painting was perfect.
Awesome. So, yep. Great packaging. Very great. That's good.
That's awesome. Let's see. I'm seeing if we have any other. Okay, that was also asked. So I think those are all the current questions. So I would say, I think my other question is, how long does it take if somebody goes in? Are they insured? How long does it take for them to apply for the insurance and get the insurance?
They would be approved within 24 hours. If someone applies in the evening, the next day they would be approved. If they apply in the morning, we probably would have them approved that day. The nice thing about our program is we review every application. We're real careful about that because our risk pool is our members. So we want to be careful. If someone joins our program and comes in through the parent company, North American Collectibles Association, they wouldn't maybe have an affiliate association. So we would probably check them out a little more. That's going to require 3 references, and we call the references. I think the short form on the AWA app is very easy. It's just a one pager, I believe, and it doesn't require us to check references. But obviously, we're mindful of who does come on our program because we're really aware of fraud in the insurance industry nowadays. Somebody shipping something that's broken prior to shipping and then trying to get a claim on it. We have things like that happen. So we're real careful who comes on, and we handle the applications in the order of which they come in. Okay. So if someone is shipping something today and they want to apply and it's 3 o'clock, if they call us and ask permission, could you please help me? I want to ship something today. We probably could help them. I don't want to promise it, but we have done that. And that's the nice thing about our customer service. I think when you call here, you're going to get a person, me or any of my staff.
Mhm.
After hours, you're on the West Coast and you call, you'll get a prompt to be able to call a person. And if we can't answer, we will call you back.
That's
And
great.
I think that's a real difference between us and just a regular insurance company. You're not going to be in a phone tree. You're going to get a person and they're going to help you because that's what we do.
That's fantastic. Well, we have a compliment for you that somebody had used you, said that they found the pricing to be very good and definitely appreciated the FedEx discount. I mean, it's huge. FedEx and all of the shipping has gone through the roof. So if nothing else, signing up and having that discount for your shipments is fantastic. And again, you can use that FedEx Advantage account without adding extra insurance.
Yes.
But you'll still get that discount rate.
Yep.
Somebody made the great point about self-transport. This is great for moving pieces from one local gallery to another. Again, you just don't think about that. Any kind of an accident could happen on your way. And if you don't have coverage through a business or something, that's just a loss. So quickly going online, setting that up, paying, it is a very small amount in comparison to what you would lose. That is a really great peace of mind. And you got a compliment on your customer service. Very good.
That's wonderful.
I promise this was not a plant. You have a very happy customer.
That is just really so nice. We work hard at that because all our customers, are really concerned with their items. They're actually fearful of shipping them. Some of them come on and had really bad experiences.
Absolutely.
So we understand that. But we're here and that's what we do. Take care of your items, regardless of what they are. And like I said earlier, if you're an artist and maybe you're a collector too of, I don't know, antique jewelry or maybe furniture or whatever, I don't know, you could use our insurance for that too. There's no limit to anything you want covered by us. The only things we don't cover are perishables and, of course, contraband. But everything else is covered. And we have a lot of members who just have other hobbies or other things they collect, and no problem.
And I'm going to very quickly just share my screen just to bring this home one more time, that people can see exactly how to do this. I think I'm on the right page. So you'll come, I don't know if it'll let me click through, but if you go under the getting started, that is where you're going to be able to tab over to getting started. Oh, good, it's moving.
Yep.
And when you come down, you scroll down, select from one of the following associations. You're going to choose AWA.
Yep. That's right there. Yep.
And then you're going to read through the policies. And this is great to review the coverage form, the instructions. It's all right there. Click that you've read it. Go to continue. Fill in your information.
Yep.
And the reason it's saying NACA, that again, that's the parent organization that we're allowed to come in under.
Yes.
And then you're signing it with your birth date. And when you, as a signature, when you submit that, then you'll get the email back. And the email you get back will let you know that, or no, there's one more step after this. And no, this isn't my real birthday.
Yep.
Just want to make sure everybody's clear if that's going to click through. Okay, I don't think it's going to take me there. But after the next page, it's going to ask you for your name and address and so forth. And once you finish, you get an email confirmation back. I think some people have been confused about that. You have to wait for that email to come back. Then that gives you your login so that when you come back, you'll be logging in up here on the right, member login. And then it's also going to provide you the instructions for connecting your FedEx account, which you need a FedEx account number, which is free to get if you don't have one. And then you submit that, and then they're going to come back and give you that FedEx discount on top of it. So again, Ship and Insure is letting our members join for free for their first year, which is usually $135. And if you do the math, that's huge across the organization, because you can save that just on a couple of shipments when you get that discount. And then let me see, we have some new questions. Oh, this is interesting. Can you use this service to insure something somebody else sends? For instance, if somebody, this example is somebody's mom has textiles they're going to ship to exhibit, can she insure it if somebody else is the sender?
That's a little tricky, and I'll answer it as best I can.
Okay.
If someone is acting as your agent, suppose like you're the member and someone is shipping something on your behalf, not their behalf, or has nothing to do with you, it has to be they're acting as your agent. Suppose the textiles are maybe you're a textile artist and you have someone that owns some of your art, textile art, and they're submitting it to a show on your behalf. They would be able to insure it because they're acting as your agent. But it wouldn't be someone that has nothing to do with you shipping and using Ship and Insure for them. They would need their own account.
Right. So
does that explain it?
Yeah, I think so. In this case, she's saying that she essentially is acting as her mom's agent, because they're exhibiting together.
Okay, sure.
Could she set up that shipment in FedEx if she has the dimensions, the weight, has it all ready to go, and then she on the other end could drop it off at FedEx with all that information? She could insure it in that case.
Yes, and she would want to use our members' FedEx number.
Okay.
Yes, right. So it would be already, it's already
connected. Right. So she would set up the shipment as if she's sending it, but it's coming from the other person. She's sort of acting as the agent, but it is for her and for an exhibition.
Yes.
That's good. Hope that answered that.
I think the key is acting as that person's agent. In other words, on their behalf, our customer's behalf. Yes.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay. She said yes. We answered it. Awesome. Thank you. So we have a couple more minutes. Are there any other questions? So I think it's been pretty clear. So Ship and Insure offers two things to our members. First, a free 1-year membership to join the shipping insurance program. And so you are paying for insurance you can never get from any shipping company. And I have to say, I've had artists say they just roll the dice and ship it. And because, the company doesn't allow it. And so they haven't had a resource to buy more, or it's been too expensive, or it's just a pain. We don't want anybody just rolling the dice. So we're very happy to have this offering so that you can have it fully insured, not just a small amount of money. Again, you've heard some testimonials that we didn't ask for, so thank you. That the company's been really easy to work with, and it's very reasonable when you think about the potential for loss. So you sign up for that, but then you also can sign up for this discount FedEx program you can use for anything. But if you don't want to use FedEx and you want to use other carriers, UPS, Post Office, DHL, all fine. I think I'd like to hear just really quickly, does the process differ for international?
Not at all, except for filling out the customs documentation.
Okay.
On customs, you have to put a value, and the value does not have to be the actual value. We don't go by what's on the custom form for the insurance. And I'm going to give you just an example so you understand. We do have some customers that have their customers abroad, and they send items, let's say to Japan. Okay, it's a dealer of some sort of collectible, and he's selling to someone in Japan. The customs forms ask for what it is. There's usually a harmonized code for that item, and there's a value, and then obviously the address and everything. So that customer may not want to expose exactly what that customer in Japan paid for that, because maybe the duties and customs in Japan, I'm just giving you a scenario, could be like astronomical. So they may hedge a little on the value. And I think our customers in the past have been concerned, well, if I put this value on the custom form and it's really a different value and I'm insuring it for the correct value, are you going to use the custom form for the value? And we tell them no, because we don't. We use what you are going to be able to show us in terms of the sale of that item or the value of a similar item that was sold recently to get the value. So I'm just telling you that we don't use those custom forms for insurance purposes, but you would have to fill out a form, and it can be accurate or it doesn't have to be. I'm just making the point. We don't go by that, but you have to have that form filled out for customs depending on what country you're sending to. That's the only thing, but that's not part of us.
Right.
You still would handle the insurance the same way. You would click on international shipment on the member's homepage, and you would have to select the country it's going to, zip to, zip from, value, just like you do on domestic. The only difference is you're going to select a country. Now, there are some countries that are not on our list. And if you call and say, I'm sending to, let's say, for instance, Monaco. We've had shipments recently going to Monaco. Well, we have them select France, run it through as France, but we would certainly know by the tracking number it's not going to France, it's going to Monaco. And then when they get the confirmation email, which you would get after every insurance placed, you get a confirmation email. We just ask them to send it back to us and say, this went to Monaco. But they called and got approval from us prior to.
Okay. So every country could be a little bit of a different situation. And it just dawned on me, can somebody join? We have members who live in Canada. So can Canadian members join?
That's a good question. Yep. Excellent question. We do have Canadian. Yeah, we have Canadian members and European members. The only restriction is they must have a U.S. address. So a lot of the Canadian folks that we have may have a P.O. box in Buffalo, New York. They may have a P.O. box at a pack and ship store somewhere along the border.
Across the border.
And that forwards them the mail, because we would be sending them their policy to the P.O. box, then that would have to be sent to them. So no problem with that. They just must have a U.S. address. It could be a P.O. box.
Okay. Yeah, because I know one of our members can only use the post office because the other carriers, it becomes a big issue. But if she joined, she could insure above and beyond postal service rates. Okay, that's great to know.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions I'm not seeing, I hope that means we've covered them. Well, I can't thank you enough, Elaine, and again, for your generosity to our group to provide this. We're very nervous whenever an artist says they're not going to insure their work. And there are many options out there, but we believe this one to be fair. And you work so much with collectors, and giving our folks a chance to try it for free for a year is wonderful. So I hope everybody will take advantage of that. So thank you again for joining us. And thank you, everybody, for the great questions. Really appreciate that today.
Thank you.
Great. We're getting some thank yous. Okay. Thanks, everybody. And again, we will record this and make it available. So if you need to go back and watch it, you'll be able to. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.